Are you tired of feeling stuck in the same routine, constantly battling old habits that no longer serve you? Do you feel like your past actions are controlling your present life? You're not alone. The way we think and behave can often feel like an invisible force holding us back from the life we truly want. But here's the good news: you have the power to break free. The key to reinventing yourself and creating a life that reflects your deepest desires lies within understanding how your brain and habits work. First, let's talk about how habits are formed. Your brain is constantly in a state of change. It's always trying to conserve energy, which is why it tends to stick to routines. These routines, or habits, become automatic after a while. Your brain literally creates neural pathways that reinforce these behaviors, whether they're positive or negative. When you repeat an action or thought, it strengthens the neural connections associated with it. This is why bad habits feel so hard to break. Your brain is just doing what it knows best, and that's to keep you in a familiar pattern. Now, the real question is, how do you break these old habits and create new ones that support the future you want? The answer starts with becoming aware of your current state. Most people live in a state of unconsciousness, meaning they act and think without ever questioning why they do so. But awareness is the first step toward change. You must recognize the patterns that are holding you back. It's only when you understand the why behind your habits that you can start to shift them. One of the most powerful ways to break free from old patterns is to break the connection between your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. When you experience certain emotions, your brain automatically triggers thoughts that reinforce those emotions. This loop creates habits. For example, if you're stressed, you might reach for unhealthy comfort food. The habit of emotional eating has been reinforced through the repeated connection between feeling stressed and eating. To break this, you have to disrupt that loop. Instead of reaching for food, you can choose to breathe deeply, meditate, or do something that brings you peace. But here's the challenge: breaking old habits requires you to step out of your comfort zone. Our brain's primary function is to keep us safe, which often means it will resist change. This resistance can feel uncomfortable, even frightening. It's important to recognize that these feelings are normal and part of the process. When you start thinking differently and trying new things, your brain is literally firing new neural pathways. This can feel awkward, but it's a sign that you're on the right path. The discomfort is just your brain adjusting to a new way of being. The key to creating new habits is repetition. Repeating new behaviors and thoughts consistently rewires your brain. For example, if you want to break the habit of negative self-talk, you need to replace it with positive affirmations. At first, it might feel unnatural, but as you continue to repeat these affirmations, your brain will begin to associate positive feelings with them, and the negative ones will start to fade. Another powerful tool in breaking old habits is visualization. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined event and one that's actually happening in real life. This means that by vividly visualizing yourself in new scenarios, experiencing new behaviors, or even achieving your goals, you're effectively rewiring your brain to support these new habits. Picture yourself as the person you want to be: healthy, confident, and successful. Feel the emotions that come with it, and let them flood your being. The more real you make this experience in your mind, the more your brain will start to create the neural connections that make it your reality. Meditation is also a powerful tool in rewiring your brain. By meditating, you enter a state of relaxed awareness where your brain waves slow down. This allows you to step outside of your habitual patterns of thinking. In this state, you're more open to new possibilities and change. Meditation helps you detach from the thoughts and emotions that typically dictate your behavior. It also strengthens your ability to focus on the present moment, which is key to breaking the habit of being yourself. When you're focused on the present, you can choose a different path, one that's aligned with your true desires. Changing your habits isn't just about willpower, it's about giving yourself permission to change your identity. You see, every habit you have is tied to a sense of self. When you change your habits, you must also change the way you see yourself. This is why it's essential to create a new self-image that reflects the person you want to become. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with unhealthy habits, breaking those habits will be much harder. But if you begin to see yourself as someone who is in control of their thoughts, emotions, and actions, the change becomes easier. But change doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. A transformation. The new you requires patience and persistence. There will be days when you feel like giving up, but this is where your commitment to the process will make all the difference. Think of it like a muscle, you need to exercise it regularly to make it stronger. The more you practice new ways of thinking and behaving, the stronger your new habits will become. Over time, they will replace the old ones. One of the biggest barriers to breaking old habits is fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, and even fear of success. It's natural to feel fear when you're stepping into unfamiliar territory. But fear is just a feeling, a thought. It doesn't have to control you. The more you face your fears, the less power they have over you. And as you continue to push through your fears, you'll begin to realize that the life you want is on the other side of that discomfort. It's also essential to surround yourself with people who support your growth. Positive, supportive relationships can make a huge difference in your ability to change. When you're around people who encourage you to be your best self, it's easier to stay motivated and focused on your goals. These people help hold you accountable and remind you of the person you're becoming. To make lasting change, you must also let go of old beliefs that no longer serve you. Often, we hold on to beliefs about ourselves that keep us stuck. These beliefs could be about our worth, our potential, or our ability to change. But beliefs are just thoughts that we've accepted as true. You can change them. If you want to reinvent yourself, you must be willing to challenge and replace old beliefs with new ones that empower you. To truly transform your life and break free from old habits, it's essential to understand that change begins from within. Too often, we find ourselves stuck in a loop of familiar behaviors and patterns that we feel we can't escape. But change doesn't have to be as hard as it seems. Once you realize that your mind is a powerful tool capable of creating the reality you desire, everything starts to shift. The mind is not a static entity, it is constantly changing and adapting, making it possible to break old habits and reinvent yourself. The key is to approach change with the understanding that your thoughts and emotions are not only shaped by the past but can be transformed for a future you want to create. One of the most powerful techniques for breaking old habits is learning how to shift your focus. We live in a world full of distractions, and our attention is often pulled in many directions. However, to break free from old patterns, you need to learn how to direct your focus intentionally. Instead of letting your mind wander or focusing on the things you don't want, bring your attention to the things you do want. By doing this, you're signaling to your brain that your priorities have shifted, and you begin to reinforce the neural pathways that support new behaviors. Lastly, it's important to celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. Reinventing yourself is a journey, and every step forward is a victory. Each time you make a choice that aligns with your new self, you're strengthening the neural pathways that will lead to lasting change. Recognize and celebrate those moments, and you'll build momentum that will carry you toward your goals. In summary, breaking old habits and reinventing yourself isn't an overnight process, it's a journey that requires awareness, patience, and persistence. By understanding how your brain works, you can begin to consciously create new habits that support the life you want to live. Disrupting old patterns, challenging limiting beliefs, and committing to the process of change will eventually lead you to the person you were always meant to be. You have the power to break free from the past and create a future that's full of possibility. All it takes is the willingness to step out of your comfort zone, think of discomfort, and stay committed to your transformation.